You like? Yeah, this topic is my favorite. Also, just since our childhood, where like this. Hello. Very less. The smell is so strong today. Yeah, I feel it's because when my side was closed for a long. Oh yeah, you're right. You run away and put us inside. Hello, Professor. Can you hear us?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Are we not audible, Professor? Hello?
Yes, you are audible. Can you hear me?
So the students have belated Eid Mubarak.
Oh, I just couldn't hear it. That's why maybe I just... Eid Mubarak to all the students. How was your Eid?
Yeah, can we have some silence? I have to download. Can we have some silence in the class?
Hello.
I think we can start.
Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak. How was your Eid? Good?
It was fabulous. But the first time it felt like a vacation.
Huh? I know there are some foreign students. Have you visited your home during this vacation?
No.
No?
I'm gonna say they were not over the assignments. No, they were not. The assignments were quite good. We could handle them this time. They're saying that. Oh yeah, they're saying that their Eid was good because they didn't have much assignments to do on the vacation.
Really? So that in that case, it was not at all a festive vacation, or the festivity was not there. Rather, the students were busy with their works. That's not good.
So they say that they had less assignments this time.
Oh, less assessment. Then it's fun. It was fun, right? But I think during the vacation they should they could really revisit all those areas we discussed on the public policy issues, because lots of reading materials that those were shared with them. Firoza, you did not share with them.
I shared some of the reading materials, like Paul Troller and
Understanding of policy, public policy.
education policy. It was a book by Paul Troller that you've asked students to read. I've shared that. And I've also shared the reading that you have shared yesterday.
That's good. Okay, today we are going to discuss on the policy design and formation. That's the very starting point, because we have discussed earlier the public policy process as well as the policy process cycle. And in that policy process cycle, we have seen that the initial and the first part of that is about agenda setting, identifying the goals or identifying problem from which the
Professor,
policy.
sorry to interrupt. Can we have a slideshow so that the slides are moved? Can we have a slideshow for the presentation?
Is not the slide.
So the slide is shared, but can we have it in the slide mode?
I don't know.
If you see at the top there, yeah. What else?
It's okay now?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. No worries. So as I was saying, that in the policy cycle or in the policy making process, it begins with the policy formulation, which involves actually identifying the problem, setting agenda to formulate a policy, and through which the policy is developed. And when the policy is developed, we then go on for implementation. This is how the policy formulation system goes on. And while we are dealing with this policy formulation, it involves, as I have said, not only identifying issues, identifying the related problems that helps us to go on with the agenda setting, conducting research, consulting with the stakeholders. So whenever the problems are identified and whenever the issues are identified, it needs to be consulted with the related stakeholders so that we can or the policy system can come up with an idea for taking a decision as which can be a part of the policy. And then the policy is drafted. This is drafted and policy proposal is made. And after that, it has been obtained or it needs to be approved through or legitimized through the system, administrative authority. So that's how it goes on. But whenever we look at the policy cycle, the policy design and the formation, the problem identification and issue recognition also involve understanding the challenge as well as the problem. What precisely is the problem? Those are the things that we have discussed earlier. What evidence is there that has become a critical problem, and who has an interest in that particular issue, and what do we want to achieve through that? So in relation to education policy, particularly, it refers to the set of guidelines and the regulations that govern the operation of the education system. So whenever a policy in an education policy, one of the key criteria is that we will have some guidelines and the regulations, which will ultimately regulate the educational system to operate or to execute that particular policy. And that education policy also explains or outlines the goals. What is the overarching goal for that particular policy, and how that goals needs to be achieved. The standard, in particularly in the education system, we talk about the school with the goals for the teachers, goals for the schools, goals for the students to ensure quality education. So those things are then segregated, how to make a overarching goal to achieve the main education policy. The policy addresses the aspects such as it also addresses the curriculum development, funding allocation, teacher training, student assessment. Not only this, if we look in the education system, what are the issues that come in play? We can say that there are three players, as I have also discussed earlier, that teachers, student, and the educational environment and its content. So in an education system, what works well? There are the teaching learning process. So there are issues like how those pedagogical issues will be addressed in the education in relation to achieve the overarching goal of the educational policy. How the curriculum will be designed or framed to achieve that goal of a particular country's education policy. The funding allocation, the funding policy, and where the fund will be allocated, the resources will be invested in which place, which will get the priority. That is another issue to be discussed. And then the teacher, because they teach, how we will train the teachers. That is that also plays a crucial role in formulating or formation of education policy. And another important and very crucial issue is student assessment. I would like to give you an example. If you just observe right at this moment, we are going to implement our new curriculum. And when we are implementing our new curriculum in Bangladesh, the critical issues those came up is that what will be the procedure of teaching learning process, how the students will be taught in the classroom. Earlier, there was a process that we followed, a rote learning process. I mean, teachers played the role of a sage. They said, and the students took the information. But now we are saying a shift from that particular kind of a teaching learning process to a experiential kind of a teaching learning process. In the higher education, we are following objective-based education, that is OBE method. And when we are talking about student assessment, earlier, if you can remember, even now it's going on, we were stick to the summative kind of assessment. I mean, after a whole year of study, we took one half-yearly exam and then final exam. So those were kind of summative assessment. But now, through this new curriculum, we are trying to promote, we are trying to bring in the formative kind of assessment, the continuous assessment process from the classroom. That assessment process will involve the teachers' more engagement, rather, because the assessment will be done from the classroom, how the students are engaged and how they are participating in discussions. And all these things will play a critical role. So in one education system, because of these different dynamics, we have to change even bring in change in the policy process. And education policies, it targets, it has got the objective to improve the educational, because the overarching target for education policy to bring in improvement in the educational outcome, promote equity, and to meet the needs of the diverse learners. We also know about inclusive education concept, which is very familiar. If you just see in our global agenda, way back in 1990, we saw that the whole world actually were committed to ensure education for all. And from that, we have then the whole world with a gradual progression. Then we say that we want education, quality education for all. And now in the SDG, we are saying that we want quality education for all and the lifelong learning opportunities for all. So these are the overarching target that those were taken into consideration when we formulate in the educational policy formulation process. And that's why the educational goals and the policy formation involves the desired outcome and objective that educational institutions aim to achieve through their programs and activities. I'd rather say it in a different way, not only the educational institution. When we talk about educational goal, we'd like to refer that the country's education system's target or aim to achieve the educational outcome through taking up different projects, programs, and activities, which ultimately been executed in the within the system. And on the other hand, the policy formation in education that involves the process of developing, implementing, and evaluating policies, because we have said that policy process or policy cycle is not a linear kind of a thing. It's a cyclical nature, because once we identify problem, set agenda, set the goal, then we prepare the or develop the education policy, then we go on for implementation, and during the implementation or even after the implementation, we go on for evaluating it, what went well or what needs to be added. It's not only evaluating or whether it is going right or wrong, because of the influence from various corners. You can see the influence from environment, which involves actually the political system, educational institutions, and others, role of the internal actors, and all these things ultimately play a critical role in redesigning or bringing change in the education policy. Thus, as I have shared with you the article by Rachel Elboim-Dorr, where he has described, or he has rather discussed some characteristics of education policy formation system. I'm sure that will give you some idea of understanding policy formation process and the critical issues that comes into play in designing and forming and or influencing the policy formation system. The critical 5 issues those are involved in it are the number one is the inconsistency of educational goals, because those goals are aspirational and often inconsistent. Environmental pressure and change leads to organization pursuing those conflicting goals, results in competition for attention. because many goals are vague and difficult to define sometimes and reflect the multifaceted nature of educational objectives. That's why uh, actually those inconsistency in the educational goals plays a critical role. And then intangibility of the educational goals, the intangible nature of in the educational goals also play a critical role. When we talk about intangible, which refers to actually something which cannot be physically measured, like values, some life skills kind of a thing. We just cannot see it, or we just cannot visualize it. So different people explains it, or different people define it in many different ways. And that's why that also creates or influence on policy formation process. And the third one is influence of the environment, to be very honest, which is shaped by the external factors like political institutes and organized interest group who are involved in the education sector, community power structure, parents, public, and all these factors. They have also an important role to play whenever we bring in a new policy, or when the policy needs to be taken, or identifying a problem related to policy. Parents play a very important role because they have got something in their mind, how they want to see their future generation to be groomed up with the policy system. So that's another crucial area which influence the policy-making system. Apart from that, the role of the internal actors. Through internal actors, we refer to the teachers, administrative bodies, the education managers in the field level, district level education managers, mid-level, ministry level education managers. They also describe and the education policies, and when they take different role over there, they also play a critical role in formation of the education policy. And above all, the decision-making processes, when from the central level, the decision is taken, they also define it in many different ways. So this is these are the broad lines which ultimately helps us to identify what plays roles in policy formation. Just through this beginning the discussion part, I just want to take you into the education policy background, or the education policies those were taken in Bangladesh. So you can really relate it, how and which are the which influences actually are playing in to shape it and reshape it, and how we are going about it for the future. Let's see our policy, the basis of our education policy, which is grounded in our constitution. And it is a constitutional obligation for us to ensure, first of all, literacy to all citizens and of the country within the shortest possible time. And even in the Article 17 of our constitutions, if you can just see, the state shall adopt effective measures for the purpose of, number one, establishing an uniform, mass-oriented, universal system of education and extending free and compulsory education to all children to such stage as may be determined by law. So the key element that has been described in Article 17 is that we need to have an uniform and mass-oriented an universal system of education, and which has to be at one point of time, I mean, at a certain level for the students, it has to be free and compulsory. And relating to the education to the needs of the society and producing properly trained and motivated citizens to serve those needs. That's again a big and overarching target, which is delineated in our constitution. We have discussed about tangible and intangible characteristics. Policy influence. You see that motivated citizen that cannot be measured. That cannot have a physical presence to understand that he has been motivated. So this sort of a thing has got an influence when how we will make them motivated. And last but not the least is removing illiteracy, because the main target for our education policy was that we will ensure or we will remove illiteracy from the country. Having taken those constitutional obligations, we have in our country the national education policy. Ultimately, we set the goal for that, and the goal for the national education policy, which ultimately included the nation's verdict, and the aspiration, which has been reflected in our constitution, the spirit of the liberation, war, and independence. Because whenever we, in any country, to be very honest, it's not in Bangladesh, any country, they just try to give the spirit of their independence, the nationality, those views needs to be incorporated in the policy. And it also reflects people's goals and values, and thereby follows the basic constitutional guideline in our country. So to the rationale for our policy making was to ensure the right, first of all, right-based approach and the opportunities for education for all, eradicating all differences. So this has explained whenever we are talking about education for all. In many places, I shared this example. One of our education manager, district level education manager, when he was asked that whether he has in his particular district, all the students were included or not. He said that yes, 100% students have been served and they are now enrolled in the school. In a follow-on question, when he was asked, are the special need children included in the schools? He said no. Number two, are the students who are in the job market? They have enrolled themselves in the school. He said no. Then how do you explain that all the children have been enrolled in the school? He said that only those who were eligible, those people were enrolled in the school. So here again we see, as we discussed in the key characteristics, that the different factors like internal actors. So here the educational manager, he has got his own kind of a meaning to explain the policy. And that's how he is going to implement it. Because of this sort of a influence. So again, we need to define that what does it mean when we mean that it is education for all. It means we have to eradicate the differences. I mean, we have to eradicate all the barriers so that each and everyone with diverse need can be addressed. And that's why the objective of our policy have been set like eradicating illiteracy, ensuring quality education for all, achieve quality, modern and updated education, upgrade the quality of higher education. Those were the key points which were taken into consideration while making our policy. Let's just go through a background or a heritage through which how we have developed our policy. In Bangladesh, the first attempt is since after the independence, our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, he has given the responsibility, giving topmost priority to the education area, given the responsibility to the renowned professor, Dr. Qudrate Khuda. Under his leadership, a commission was formed to suggest the national education, how it should be designed. So the first attempt of the government after independence was Dr. Qudrate Khuda Education Commission. But since after 1975, the sad, brutal killing of our father of the nation take a U-turn. There was a big change, though that particular education commission's suggestion or the policy suggestion was not taken into consideration. It has taken the different route at that time. However, in 1996, when the present Awami League government came into power, they took again another initiative and took a step to prepare education policy 2000 in line with the spirit and the vision that has been explained in our constitution. And in 2008 also, that same government took the responsibility for upholding the education policy, which recognized the importance of public views and reaction. And based on all those, finally, the current education policy, which was formed in 2010, and which has been adopted by the government to adjust with the need of the modern times, as the previous policies were not commensurate with the needs of the present competitive world. And so from this also, we understand that the countries, when they develop their education policy, it needs to be updated with the need of the current scenario. As we all know, whenever we use our computer or our mobile phone, as it needs continuous updating with the change of the new when something new system comes in, that mobile needs to be updated. So the policies also needs update. It needs to be updated with the need of the present scenario or the present thing. Based on that, I would like to share with you the Education Commission, which was the first Qudrate Khuda Commission, where we can see.
Sorry to interrupt, Professor.
Yeah,
is it okay if I ask students if they have some questions?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Professor, in the article by mentioned, it was said in the environment, can we say that the natural resources are part of the environment factor or just the political factors or other community members?
Can you give an example of what you mean by natural resources?
My question is like resource availability, like maybe how infrastructure, all those do they come up within the environment part?
Oh, so your question is within the environment, is it only the political environment or
the tangible resources?
Professor, did you get the question?
Yes. you have rightly said, whenever we are talking about the environmental influences, it's political institutions, interest group, community power structure, parents, public. And to be very honest, I have discussed about the funding modality during our discussion. So it also depends on the resources. Resources also play a critical role within the environmental influences. Yes.
So, the tangible resources, the infrastructures and building, do they also come under environment or no?
They will also, yes, definitely. They will also come under those environmental influences.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question from the previous slide, the historical background of policy. Thank you, Professor. So I can see the Dr. Kudroti Khuda Education Commission was formed after independence, and then I can see 1996, the date is the second date. So is it like this commission was acting as like education policy from 1971 to 1996? Is it like that?
No. That was the first commission that was formed, but because of the change of the government, there were other commissions formed. I will show you those later on. This was the first. Then in 1978, we have got another commission, which was formed under the leadership of Qazi Jafar Ahmed, and that was an interim education policy. Even after that, we had another one in 1987. That is Mr. Mofizuddin Ahmed's commission. All those commissions also come to and made some changes in line with the need of the of the time. But I have just after the Kudroti Khuda Commission, I have mentioned just to show a chronology of the present government's view, how it is going on, how it is related with the father of the nation's vision and target to see the future generation of Bangladesh. And that's how we are now developing it through this our new policy. But there were other commissions formed in between.
Thank you, Professor. Maybe we'll take one more question.
So in the cycle of policy making, there are various stages. So I wanted to know that in the Ministry of Education, are there departments for each particular stage or just designations?
Well, in the Ministry of Education, there is no particular wing dedicated to deal with the policy formulation. But in Ministry of Education, there are two different wings. Number one, 3 or 4 different wings. One is educational administration. They look after the educational administration and the finance. Another wing that deals with educational planning. Another wing that deals with education development. Another wing that deals with the, administration of colleges, and another wing deals with the administration of schools. As I say, that policy involves various initiatives from various angles, because education, it deals with the school, it deals with the colleges, it deals with the teachers, it deals with the students. So whenever the policy is formulated from different angle, the suggestions come in. That's what we refer to the internal actors. The internal actors from those wings come up with their different needs, and those ultimately goes into forming the policy. When a new policy is formed, normally from the Education Ministry, a different committee has been formed, taking people from different organization. I mean, those who are educationists. So they are formed, and the people from ministries are taken as a member of those committees, and those group ultimately work on to take the needs from different wing so that it can be to develop the policy. That's how it works on. But no different separate wing is dedicated for policy making.
So, sir, it's need-based and it's not regulated like yearly or
No, it's not.
quarterly, it's just need-based.
It's need-based, because whenever a policy is taken, and then government from the ministry, what it tries to uh, achieve the goals that has been given in that particular policy. So to achieve that goals, they identify the activity, what needs to be done, or some other sub goals needs to be are identified, and based on that they identify what programs needs to be taken, what activities needs to be taken to achieve that particular goal. And after certain period of time, it is reviewed that how far they have achieved to that target. And in between, there are international commitments which needs to be incorporated. There are needs from the society, which, as we have discussed, that needs that comes from political commitment, or from the parent side, or from the teacher side, which needs to be incorporated in line with the overall target. So based on that, when it is necessary that there needs to be a big change that needs to be taken into consideration, then another new commission forms. So currently we are dealing with our education policy 2010, but with the advancement of the technology, as well as the concern for the future education, future generation, I mean, fourth industrial revolution and all these things, we are also now currently thinking of developing another new policy, which will be in line with the, or commensurate with the demands of the time. Already we are addressing it with the existing policy, but maybe it will also be revised or updated.
No,
Thank you so much, sir.
I think we can shift back to the lecture. Thank you very much for answering all the questions.
Thank you. So in the 1972's Education Commission report, if you can just see, that commission actually highlighted that in our case, our pre-primary education will be below 5 years. For them, there will be pre-primary education. And then there was a suggestion that our primary education will be up to class 8, and secondary education will be class 9 to 12, and higher education will be then beyond 4 years honors and 1 year masters. Apart from them, there was also a suggestion that free education up to class 5 by 1980 and up to class 8 by 1983. If you just go back, I mean, if we just look into our constitutional obligation that talks about free and compulsory education, you see, from that particular point, the Education Commission of 1972, they have suggested that our education will be free, at least the basic education will be free. And they have just given 2 stages that by 1980, I mean, there will be free education up to class 5 and up to class 8 by 1983. Though we could not, you see, make our education free up to class 8 even today. And we just could not make our I mean, basic education up to class 8. Still, our primary education or the basic education is up to class 5, though the same view or the same policy is carried over even in our recent, the most current policy in 2010. In the way back at that time, you see, there was a suggestion that vocational education, 3 years, but can be extended up to 4 years. So there was an importance was given on vocational education, and there was also importance given in women's education, because that will be helpful to the domestic life, not only domestic life, childcare, prevention, preservation of health, nursing, food, nutrition related housework, and primary teacher. Though all those were considered at that time, but that women education and the investment in women education, to be very honest, right at this moment has taken Bangladesh to a different stage. If you just go back to New York Times, in 2021, Mr. Christoph, he has his report where he says that Biden should look back to Bangladesh for the development agenda, because he described that Bangladesh has achieved, or Bangladesh has come up successful as a nation because of their investment in education, especially in women education. So you see, those policies ultimately guide the governments to carry on or take programs because of that particular indication or giving emphasis on women education. In our country, we have made education for girls free up to class 10. Not only this, we have given them incentives, we have given them scholarships, we have given them stipends. So, and that ultimately gave a good result to contribute to the nation's success or development. So later on, after, as I said, that there was a U-turn, but till then, it has got a main target was, to be very honest, main target was not that far away from the first one. It says in 1978's interim education policy, establish an education system which facilitates the employment opportunity and create moral, patriot, responsible human resource with scientific values. So during that time, the focus was given on science education, and also to bring a relationship with the education with the employment sector, so that the education is given in such a way so that they have got, they get themselves their place in the employment sector. And if we see in 1987, the Mr. Mofizuddin Ahmed Commission, that also take another reform, that with the target of reform, restructure, and develop the previous education system of our country. And they have done it, as we have discussed, that when education policy is revised and a new education policy taken, normally meetings takes place, seminar takes place where the different stakeholders discuss on various issues, their merits, demerits, and which needs to be revised. And then that based on that report, we have designed that new policy. In 1997, when the present government has again take up, and they have just, as they could not earlier materialize the Kudrat-e Khuda Commission's main objective, they have come up with the new, again with that, pursue with that vision to help the students in their individual and national life, to inspire the students in the students in the spirit of war of liberation, to make education practical and productive, to make the students responsible and skilled. And the suggestions that came up in Samsul Haq Education Committee is that activeness of the school management committee. They wanted to engage school management committee more active role, ensure that active role of school management committee. 8 years duration of primary education within 2010. As I told you that it was envisioned way back in 1972 that primary education will be up to class 8. Primary education means the basic education, and all the citizen as a education as their right must have that education up to at least up to year 8. Even that has been re-emphasized in the policy that was made in 2010. And in 1997, we had a target set that the teacher-student ratio will be 1:35, though we just could not reach even to that position. Uniform curriculum at the primary level, interim and final examination in class 3, and qualification of teachers. And lower primary, for lower primary level, it was set SSC, and upper primary level, it was set up to degree. So these were some of the policies taken to address various issues like teacher recruitment and addressing the need of the education sector. In 2003, again, under Professor Moniruzzaman, the Education Commission report was formulated. And that Education Commission actually gave emphasis to ensure quality education through usage of technology and increasing the facilities of teacher, and that nationalize the primary education. So the same emphasis that was given at the first education policy under the Khuda Education Commission Education Policy, you can see the same thing, emphasis has been given, the quality education for all. But only with this passage of time, the new thing that has been incorporated here is the technology and increasing the facilities of teacher, because teachers will play the key role. So their issues needs to be addressed, has been identified through this particular policy. However, all these policies, all these commissions, starting from 1972 and then 2000 and all these have been reviewed to ultimately reach to the national new education policy that we are currently pursuing. Even for that particular policy, the two broad vision, those were guiding that national policy, is the Vision 2021 to bring change in the life, quality of life, and the promise of establishing a digital Bangladesh. If you can remember, way back in 2008 and 2009, our Honorable Prime Minister declared that we want to be a digital Bangladesh, ensure a digital Bangladesh. Many people actually criticize that, oh, yeah, how come it will become digital? But that particular policy, that particular vision from our Honorable Prime Minister helped us to take or formulate different policies, different programs under those policy, so that we can pursue the vision. We can ultimately reach the target where our Honorable Prime Minister wanted us to see. So as you can see, that the whole world has come within our hand, in our mobile phone. We have gradually turned into a digital Bangladesh, and that has brought a big change within the quality of life. And that's why these broad visions also play a critical role. Currently, we have got another broad vision, that is Vision 2041. And this will ultimately lead us to become a developed nation. In 2010, Professor Kabir Chaudhry was the head of that commission. That particular commission also focused, uh, uh, actually kept its key focus on the Qudrate Khuda Commission's report, as well as Samsul Haq Education Commission's report. And the key objective and the aims that has been highlighted in this particular education policy is to make stages of undergraduate education from 3 to 2, the mandatory inclusion of certain compulsory subject under all stream of education, as you can see the reflection of it in our new curriculum. Now we have just incorporated some common subjects for all. Sorry. Sorry, I think I cannot see my screen now. Is it visible to you?
Yes.
It is. It
Okay.
has shrink
Now it's
somehow.
okay. Making education more need-based and formation of permanent education commission. That has been a suggestion, as you were saying, whether there is any permanent wing. Uh, but there has been a suggestion that a permanent education commission may be formed for that. And Bangla, moral education, Bangladesh studies, mathematics, natural environment, social studies, IT, science be compulsory. As you can see the reflection in our new curriculum framework. I don't know whether it's with Firoza or in your department. Otherwise, I will share that framework with you. That will also help you to understand how the policy views or objectives are reflected in the follow-on policies or activities or the programs that were taken. That this particular education policy also emphasizes on technical and vocational education to be introduced at all secondary level institution. Currently, we are taking our various intervention through one program. Already we have introduced voc and pre-voc in the general mainstream school, and we have got a plan that gradually all the mainstream school, we along with their regular or general studies, they will have to complete at least one vocational course during their schooling years. So that will ultimately give them a skill, a confidence, so that they do not only go with the knowledge, they will go with knowledge and skill to make themselves confident, so that they can become a solution by themselves. To restructure madrasa education, including information technology and vocational training. Already we have taken that initiative. Even in our madrasas also, we have introduced all these technology and all these general subject. Only those madrasa education has got some one or two specialized subject for their education, but they are going at par with all the general students, because we want all our secondary level students have got the equal kind of qualification and equal kind of standard that they achieve. and the formation of the Non-Government Teachers Commission. So these are some suggestions which are given. Some of them have already been done, and some are under the process. And in between, with the advancement of the demand of the future, we are also thinking of formation of a new education commission, so that we can go on with the updated one. So this is how actually the whole process went on. Whenever the various education commission prepares a draft, that draft actually is reviewed by the stakeholders, by people who are involved in it. It was put into the it needs to be put into the website so that general people can see it, and it is also shared with the media, so that wide participation, wide people from all walks of life can give their feedback. So I have just shared these informations for your understanding, that when these policies are formulated, the Education Commission, they are not the only players who formulate that policy. After their draft being prepared, it is shared publicly, so that people can have their feedback. And based on those feedback, normally the policies are formulated and finalized. So in the last slide, though I didn't like to describe the theory part of it, because we have not entered very deeply with all the theories of public policy. Rather, I just want to make it very simple, that if we see that there is in our policy making process, we have seen that the policies that was the commission, Kudroti Khuda Commission, the report or the policy that has been taken, which has been just updated, added new with the old policy, without abolishing the old policy. The main vision was kept intact, but something new has been incorporated. Thus, every commission and policy becomes the complement for the previous one. This is how actually in the policy making process, this is known as incrementalism. You are just increasing the new issues into the existing one or the old policy. That's how we have so far developed. And every Commission for Education Policy made their report through systematic way by discussing with others or interview, and systemic way of public policy formation through cost-benefit analysis. So this is again an analysis of rational choice, because it has been done through following some certain system. In the policy formulation process, this process is known as mixed scan theory, where the administrative decisions as well as incremental policy adding is works together. In the incrementalism is as I have described to you earlier. So it is a combination of administrative model as well as the mixed scanning model. It is directed from the administrative level, as well as the incremental change has been reflected in our policy. And based on that, actually, we designed our policies so far. So whenever we will go on for further discussion, analyzing our policies in the next classes, I think these the ideas will support us. These discussions point will support us to analyze those policy dynamics later on, because in our next class we will discuss on the policy analysis. So with these words, I would like to stop my today's discussion, and maybe Firoza and others can carry on the discussion session. And in between, if there is any final question, I think we can just discuss. Thank you very much.
Any question?
Yes, I have one question. Professor, you mentioned that like women education and vocational education, so is it a part of Bangladesh education system, like, and also those are certified or recognized?
Right.
Sorry,
So
I
that
could-
recognized or not?
Are these like women education and vocational education, those are also a part of Bangladesh education system?
That's your question?
Yeah, and also like those are recognized.
So, the vocational education and women education, are they a part of the national education system, and are they recognized?
Yes, yes. Well, women education, there is no separate issues as a women education mentioned in our education policy. In the Kudrati Khuda Commission, we have given emphasis at that time based on the addressing the gender issue or that particular issue. And we have gained some success in it because girls were lagging behind and there were to bring them up, some more importance was given in women education. To be very honest, in our country, right at this moment, women are outsmarting the boys. In this year's result also, if you can see, the girls have got better success rate than the boys. At one point of time, I mean, way back in, 40 years back, when I was 40 or 45 years back, when I was a school student, I remember there was a quota system for the girls to be admitted in the medical colleges and others because there were not sufficient number of girls who have completed the higher secondary level and then go for higher studies like medical and all this. But right at this moment, the scenario is almost reverse. You will be astonished in our country. Now, more than 70 or 80% are the girls who are studying in education. And I think now we need a policy that a quota system for the boys. Sometimes our minister says that we have to introduce quota system for the boys. Otherwise, the girls are progressing so well that the boys will be sidetracked. So for women education, there is nothing called women education, but we gave emphasis to bring them up way back. And that actually resulted. That's part one. Number two, vocational education. You have seen, even in our Kudrati Khuda Commission, it was highlighted that vocational education has to be given importance. And it is now established in the world that knowledge, is not enough in education. We need to have knowledge and skill together. We need to know and we need to have the skill to do that. In Bangla, we say we need to আমাকে জানতে হবে, আমাকে পারতেও হবে. For example, if you just have the knowledge that this is how the cycling, but we have to use the cycle or cycling is done, but you do not know how to cycling. That does not work. So you have to give that, have that practical knowledge. And for that, in the education system, now we have taken it as a policy that for even in general stream, vocational education will be a compulsory part. So they will study and they will have at least one vocational skill course to be completed during their schooling period. So we are now, this was in our policy, this was in our overarching vision, but we could not introduce it properly just earlier before. Now we have introduced it in our schooling system.
Thank you, Professor.
I have a similar question to Taslima's.
I think we'll take one more. This is gonna be the last question.
Just as my classmate mentioned, if women education and vocational was recognized, is there anything particular for students with special needs?
Well, as you have seen, all through in our policies, we have said that we want to ensure education for all, education as a right-based approach. So in principle, we are agreeing to it. But I have discussed at the very beginning that key characteristics of a education policy formation, because when we define it in many different ways. That's why maybe it has not been implemented as it is expected, but we are committed to ensure education for, creating provision for all the special need children. And if I can remember, there was a question from your class in our last class, whether we have got a provision for the ethnic minority children. Whether we have got any provision so that they can study in their own mother language. Even we have done that so that we can ensure that they are not left behind. We want to reach the farthest behind the first. So we have got that policy in mind, but maybe when we are designing those problems, program, we need to address it even in a more categorical way. But right at this moment where we are taking any program or project, we are saying that we want to ensure safe, inclusive school environment so that each and every children with diverse need can be accommodated and can have their rights established, having education from this system. Yes, it is inbuilt in our education policy and education system. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we will see. Sorry?
Yeah, so the students, so today for the discussion session, the students have prepared like 5 minutes presentations on policy environment of different countries, like Brazil, Malaysia, other countries. So if you're willing to stay with us, maybe you can hear more about the
Seminar. So thank you so much.
Thank you, students.
So
So I'm taking leave now.
guys, maybe. Okay. Professor,
Okay.
then have a good day.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
So 5 minutes break and we'll come back.